Hello and welcome to another episode of Learning to Live in the Present Moment. My name is Ted Robinson and I'm your host today. Today we're going to be talking about stress and the effect it has on our lives and how that stress and the worries that lead to stress can be resolved and why it's best to do that and what the eventual outcome is. That's really what this is all about. In fact, that's what life is all about. Ultimately, it's about learning to live in the present moment. But oftentimes, stress gets in the way. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, I'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back. So stress is a killer. It's just been as simple as that. It's a killer. It will kill you if you allow it. But the question that I have in my mind is, how does stress occur in your life and in mine? Well, the simplest thing to do is to look at your life. And each person's life is different in this world. But they're all remarkably the same in certain ways. One is, we have what's called an ego. You know about that, right? We all have an ego. But the way I define the ego is very different than the way most people do. I consider it the part of the mind that, first off, judges everything. And also, it takes you into the past and into the future. Most importantly, the future and the past. But all three are important because those three are what cause you the most stress in your life. For example, when something goes wrong, like let's say you want to go to the beach for the afternoon or the morning, and something happens and the car breaks down and you can't do it. Well, what happens? You get stressed, you get angry, you get frustrated, you get annoyed. You might lash out at your family members. You might kick the tires. Who knows what you're going to do? But you're not going to be happy. Why is that? Have you ever looked at why? It's all because your ego didn't get what it expected. I'm going to the beach this afternoon. We're going to the beach this afternoon. Everybody's relying on me to have the car in shape. And what's happened? The car broke down. That's the ego. First off, it's the fear of the future. It didn't happen. It's the anxiety building up to it. And then it's the anger and resentment. That's a past thought because look what happened to my car and we didn't get to go, which is a judgment that this didn't turn out right. It didn't turn out the way I expected or I wanted. As a result, what happens? Stress. Stress happens just as simply as that. Now, of course, it doesn't have to happen that way. How can you change that? Well, it's really quite simple. Don't be attached to the outcome of your plans. That's pretty laughable, isn't it? But what I'm saying here is most of us are really very attached to the outcome of our plans, right? If we plan something, we want it to go down that way. We want it to happen the way we plan it. That's, again, the ego. And when it doesn't happen, what happens? Stress, anger, frustration, perhaps jealousy, rage, who knows what. All kinds of things can happen as a result of our ego making a choice as to how we want things to happen or to be in the world, and then all of a sudden they don't happen that way, or they didn't turn out the way we planned. You see, what's happening in that situation is our ego becomes more important than the actual plan, because our ego wants to be right all the time. It wants to be the one that knows. It wants to be the one that makes the plan that works. And when it doesn't work, it gets upset. It gets angry. It gets stressed. And what happens once you're stressed? Well, What happens is fight or flight kicks in. A part of the brain actually goes into fight or flight. That's an age-old thing where we were just early humans, and the amygdala goes into fight or flight. It's the part of the brain. And what I mean by fight or flight, it gets ready to fight or it flees, one or the other. But that's what it wants to do. It's a very, very basic response to things. So you may be familiar with that. Some people, when they get stressed, they really get angry. They want to fight with everybody, and sometimes they do get into fist fights with people. Or they want to run away. Either way, the fight or flight mechanism has taken over, and they're gone or they're in it. Now, that is the epitome of stress. Because just like an antelope that gets almost eaten by a tiger, you got to remember, they're going, they'll be looking around like, where's the next tiger or lion? So the same thing happens to us. We're all pretty much alike. All mammals are pretty much alike in that respect. Fight or flight mechanism is one that happened back when we were needing it in the bush, in the forest, in the grasslands. And that saber-toothed tiger came out of nowhere and threatened your life. And you had to either take that spear and fight to the death or flee to the highest point where a hiding place where they couldn't find you. So these are left in us. These are vestiges, remnants of age-old evolution in our minds. And they're still there. Now, how can you overcome that? Well, by becoming aware of it, first off, just by listening and watching right now, you're overcoming it because you're getting to know that it exists. Most of us never get taught this kind of thing. So first off, it exists. It's in you. Now, many people have learned to suppress it. Many people have tried to ignore it. You can't really. It'll always get its way because it's a very powerful effect in your body. But there's another way of doing it. It's called mindfulness. By watching it, seeing it happen, and being ready to flee. Just that look, and be ready to flee. And you go, oh, look at that. It kicked in. That part of my mind kicked in, wanting to flee. I see what it is now. I get it. And not fleeing. By just doing that, you actually overcome it instantly, immediately, on the spot. Now, the other way to do it is you can use emotional freedom technique, EFT, and tap it away. So let's say you almost get into a car accident and suddenly you're on the side of the road crying your eyes out. You can tap. Now, if I haven't shown it to you or you haven't seen the previous shows, this is called tapping or EFT. And EFT is a meridian-based technique whereby you can actually tap the ends of each of your meridians. Did you even know you have meridians? They're little straws or tubes that carry energy, life force energy, throughout your body. And if they get disrupted or traumatized, if you get traumatized, they get blocked. When they get blocked, the energy doesn't flow. When the energy doesn't flow, it results in negative thoughts, self-limiting beliefs, pain, anxiety, things of that nature. And so you can actually eliminate the stress and anxiety by simply tapping while you think about the anxiety. And I'll show you the points right now. The points are the top of the head in a circle, like an oval. The next point is the eyebrow point right here. The next point is the side of the eye point, pretty obvious. Under the eye is under the eyeball, about 1/4 of an inch below the lower lid. Under the nose, under the mouth. The collarbone point is right here. You feel your collarbones, it's right at the end of the collarbones, right here and here. And you just tap in that area. Under the armpit. And that's it, the side of the hand. Now, all you have to do is when you're really stressed out, really upset, tap those points. And you can get these points at my website at centerforinnerhealing.com. You'll see it at the bottom of the TV. Centerforinnerhealing.com, and go to the EFT page, and you'll find a whole page of it that you can download. You can actually download it yourself or print it out yourself. And that way you can have it. Or you can come to one of our Wednesday night groups that what we do here at our Center for Inner Healing It's between 7 and 9 p.m. on Wednesdays, and we'll give you a card that's got the whole thing on it. And we have a whole session here that we do for 2 hours. We also do one on Sunday night that's free on the telephone. And you can get onto that by just going onto our website and getting the number and joining. Everybody's welcome to both of these events. And you are too. Even if you're a rank beginner, you are welcome, because we're going to teach you instantly and get you tapping with us right away. And you'll see developments and results on the spot. It's pretty amazing stuff. So that's a great way to eliminate stress. Now, I'll be back in a minute to tell you more about how you can deal with stress, eliminate those fight or flight impulses, and become more mindful. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Welcome back. So the other way to really address all of this is to recognize that it's your ego that's generating the stress in the first place. You see, all stress comes from us, our ego. Instead of floating like a bobbing cork on the ocean, the cork never sinks. It always just continues to float. It could be a placid ocean. It could be a raging hurricane. Cork just floats along. It goes with whatever way it's going. On the other hand, if you fight things, if you try to swim against the riptide, you're going to tire yourself out and drown. It's just the way it is. In fact, when summertime is here, and it's just about here, when people are swimming in the ocean and they get caught in a riptide, lifeguards tell them, don't swim. Just float, like the cork. Just float, and the tide will take you, the current will take you to a certain spot and dump you out. And then you can easily swim in, easily, to the shore. But people get panicked. People don't think. They don't remain mindful of their surroundings and what's going on. They forget, and they just go into that fight or flight, freak out moment. I got to get out of here. And they wind up succumbing to the current and their tiredness. And that's the very reason this is important for you to know. Your ego will get in the way of mindfulness. It does not want you to recognize what's going on. It does not want you to see it for what it's doing. It actually thrives on your fear, because then it can come in and, quote, solve the problem. That's not the deal. That's not the way. There are only two things in this world, fear and love. And most people don't realize that simple equation. And I'm not going to go into all aspects of that, but that's an equation that I didn't believe in at all when it was first told to me. I argued with the person who told me for an hour. And he just threw up his hand and said, okay, don't believe it. It's all right. And I was even more frustrated. What part do you think was frustrated? My ego. I've had an extremely strong ego all my life, so I'm speaking from experience here. I know about the ego because I've been the ego maniac of the world all my life. And now, finally, at this advanced age, I'm finally realizing that I've been fighting my way through the world the whole time. And guess what that does? It causes stress at every turn. And that's why I'm telling you these things today, because I don't want to see that happen to everybody else. I caused a lot of havoc in this life by being so egocentric, egotistical, and ego-driven. I hope to be able to share with you how to eclipse the ego. That's what I'm doing here right now, trying to help you see the ego as it arises in your life. It's a very simple equation. Past, future thinking, and judgment. Those are the primary things. Everything comes from there. So past thoughts are regret, sadness, anger, resentment, revenge, jealousy. All these are past thoughts. Future thoughts. Future thoughts are fear, worry, anxiety, wondering what's going to happen, anticipation, and things of that nature. Judgment is probably the biggest issue because judgment is in everything we do all the time. However, here's the distinction with judgment and all the other things as well. There's nothing wrong with being in the past or future thoughts or in judgment. Certainly you need to judge what you're going to have for lunch, dinner, or breakfast, what you're going to wear, what goes with what article of clothing, what street to make a left or right at, or go straight or stop. All these things take judgment. There's nothing wrong with judgment. There's nothing wrong with contemplating the past or thinking about the future. There's nothing wrong with any of that, except when you're not aware that you're doing it, when you get so locked into it that you can't escape from it. Many, many people walk around every single day worried about what's happening next, about whether they can handle it, whether they're going to run out of money, whether they can handle the job, whether somebody's going to break up with them, whether somebody's going to disagree with them. No matter what it is, they're worried about the future. Other people are caught up in the past. They live in the past. They lament the past. I should have done this. I should have done that. And they just can't get themselves out of the past. Other people use their judgment infinitely. They judge everybody that comes into their presence, including themselves. All these things are aberrations that allow the mind to get caught up in doing whatever it's doing, allow the ego to go too far. And that's where the trouble really lies, when you go too far from the mind. The idea is to always be mindful of the mind. Now, I'm going to explain mindfulness to you. It's the part of you that's sort of up here watching. It's just watching. I can't see it right now. If I bring my fingers out here, I can see it. But right here, I can't see it at all. But it's watching my ego. And as soon as my ego kind of sneaks out and my mindfulness sees it, it goes and pulls back. And then I can retract my mindfulness. Now, the idea is to be able to see things without doing anything about them. I don't even have to say, The ego gets seen, it withdraws. That's mindfulness. When the ego is caught up in anger and blame and nastiness, this part comes out and sees it and goes, maybe I don't have to be that angry, nasty, or angry or blaming. And so that's the idea of it. Same thing's true of stress. When you're stressing out, it's because your ego is afraid it's not going to get what it wants. It's in future thought. When it's stressed out, it's worried that you can't make the bills. It's worried that you can't buy what you want to buy with how much you earn. It's worried that you're going to be buried in bills and have to go bankrupt. It's worried about everything. That's what stress is all about. So if you just become more mindful of it and watch it more often, what happens then is you keep moving your mindfulness along with you so that the next time you go out to buy something that you don't really need, your mindfulness comes out and say, yeah, you're right, I don't really need that. You don't have to say anything, just if that. And all of a sudden the ego retracts and says, all right, I was just doing that to feel good about myself, to reward myself, to show off for myself. I guess I don't need any of those things. That's right, you don't. You don't even have to have that conversation, but that's the kind of conversation that mindfulness will eventually bring. And that's the idea of mindfulness. Now, as that happens, you start to let go of you start to let go of the things that cause stress within you, which is always the ego. I'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back. I want to show you quickly how to deal with stress using EFT. And it's very simple. All you need to do is simply acknowledge what's stressing you out. What is stressing you right now? And tap on it. So if it's worrying about getting to a party on time, it would seem like this. You'd just say the following words. And you tap on these points. Say, even though I'm worried about getting to the party on time, I accept myself nonetheless. And then you'd respond saying, even though I'm worried about getting to the party on time, and I'm stressing out, I love and accept myself. I accept myself nonetheless. And then on the top of the head, we'd say, I'm stressing out. I'm stressing out. Just say these as we go along. I'm stressing out. I'm stressing out. I really want to get to the party on time. I really want to get to the party on time, but I'm afraid I won't get out of work on time. But I'm afraid I won't get out of work on time. Or my boyfriend won't come to pick me up on time. Or my boyfriend won't come to pick me up on time. And it's a surprise party. And it's a surprise party. I need to get to that party on time. I need to get to that party on time. And I'm really stressed out about the whole thing. And I'm really stressed out about the whole thing. All this stress, all this stress, all this stress, all this stress. I have so much stress about this. I have so much stress about this. I'm really worried about it. I'm really worried about it. I'm afraid I'm never going to get there on time. I'm afraid I'm never going to get there on time. And I'm going to be late for the surprise party. I'm going to be late for the surprise party. I have a lot of stress right now. I have a lot of stress right now. But I can choose to eliminate that stress. I can choose to eliminate that stress. And I choose that now. I choose that now. I choose to be on time. I choose to be on time and not worry about it. And not worry about it. It will take care of itself. It will take care of itself. I'll make sure to call him ahead of time. I'll make sure to call him ahead of time so that he'll be here on time, and we'll both go together and be on time. And we'll both go together and be on time. Now that is a plan, and I like it. Now that is a plan, and I like it. I'm going to be to the party on time. I'm going to be the party on time. Put your hands down and take a nice deep breath. Now you can use that for anything and everything. Any kind of stress, and you can get through it right away. In fact, if you're caught up in the actual stress, you don't have to even use the words that I used. You can just simply say this stress, this stress, this stress, this stress, because you're feeling it, you're in it at the time, and that's all you have to do. Don't forget, stress is about you and your ego, your inner thought process, your inner judgments and conclusions that this is all going to be terrible, or he shouldn't have done that, or she shouldn't have done that, or any number of alternatives. The idea is to recognize the ego as doing what it's doing. It's all inside. It's an inside job. The good part is, that's not to blame you or your ego, but the good part is, it gives you a way of getting through and changing how you respond. Using your mindfulness, using EFT, you can get through the stress of every day easily and eliminate the stress that would otherwise eventually kill you. That's the idea. And on top of everything else, you know what it does for you? It actually teaches you to live in the present moment without stress. And that's the idea. You're just here now, living in the present moment every day without stress, when you can see what your ego is doing, be mindful of it, and not be attached to the outcome of things. That's the most important part. Non-attachment to the outcome. You might say, well, how do I do that? Well, you just see it for what it is, and don't allow your ego to be so attached to the outcome. Just say, oh, look at that. My ego really, really, really wants this to happen. I'm going to see what happens if I'm not so attached to it. If it doesn't happen, I don't get crazed and weird. I don't get all jacked up about the whole thing. And I feel, okay, well, we'll move on. Next. And see how that works. And I guarantee it'll work well. And that allows you to be more present and be in the present moment, which is the whole point of this show. Showing you all the various ways that we take ourselves out of the present moment. That's the ego that I'm talking about. And how we can come back into the present moment by non-attachment and mindfulness. And that's how you can actually be more mindful and more present at the same time. So I hope this has been helpful to you. I want to remind you that we have a Wednesday night group here at our center between 7 and 9 p.m. every Wednesday at the Center for Inner Healing, which is located at 26 St. Paul's Place, Hempstead, New York. Or you can come on to our Tapathon, which is a Sunday night telephone show where we tap with one volunteer, and everybody in the whole call, it's a large conference call. Everybody gets the same benefits at the same time because we're all in the same call and because we're all using EFT together. It's pretty amazing and very powerful, and it's free, and you're invited. You're invited to both, in fact. So that's about it for today. We look forward to seeing you next time, same place, as you and I, learn to live in the present moment together. Have a wonderful day. Thanks.